Okay, so there is. Congrats to everyone for jumping on the call. Not our usual time, but also, as well as I've just mentioned, not just a commitment from our side for getting on the call, but our illustrious CEO, Dr. Fred Cooper, who's in China and woke himself up nice and early just to sprinkle a little bit of magic, no doubt. So, Fred, thank you for jumping on the call. And as you've probably seen recently, there's and it always happens in MLM. The way I describe it, they're kind of like turnstiles, the merry-go-round. Some people come, some people go, and there's probably a lot of new people on this call who've maybe not had the pleasure of seeing you on a live video call at 4:30 in the morning before. But if for those on the call, can you just give a bit of a background about ARIIX? And we're 5 years in now, and just an overview of how it started and how we got to this point.
Sure, you bet. Oh gosh, all right, that was a while ago. 5 years is when it first started. We started, I came originally, well, actually, the funny part is, I don't know that anyone ever thinks when they are doing a career, especially someone as passionate about a career as mine, that it would ever be in direct sales. I got started in direct sales when one of my students, who was he worked as an auditor for Grant Thornton. And Grant Thornton, he was my MBA student in one of my classes. And they couldn't figure out their binary compensation plan. It's mathematically very, very complicated. Most people can't calculate a binary because there are certain factors that go into play that are human nature, that are estimates. So the Grant Thornton, the accounting firm, they have, I don't know, a couple thousand employees, couldn't find anybody that could calculate it. So this student came up to me and said, he was my stats student, and he said, "Hey, Cooper, I got a company that is going to hire you if you can do it to help them solve their compensation plan." So I said, "Oh, what the heck? You pay me enough money, I'll do about anything." So I charged them a mint, calculated their compensation plan, and that was the beginning of my entry into direct sales. I gotta say, I was a typical person like many of you are out there. When you go to approach people, or what you thought yourself, you always think it is this big pyramid scheme. It's nothing more than a bunch of overpriced products so somebody at the top can make all of the money and everybody else makes nothing. I'm just like you've heard a million times, and I'm a skeptic myself. But as I worked for this company, USANA, I worked really, really hard on the corporate side and really started to get an appreciation for what direct sales is and why it has all of the stigmas for what it is not. And it's been very interesting. Like, for example, overpriced products. I'll give you an example. So I'm here in Chengdu right now in China. If you come into my room, I can pay for some Boss water that's sitting there almost $10 for a bottle of water. There is a stand on a little lady that runs a shack right outside my door, maybe 100 yards, and I will pay 10 RMB for it, which 10 RMB is about a sixth of the price times 10. So it is just a few pennies for the exact same thing that is being sold for $10 here in the hotel room. So you talk about a bunch of overpriced items because you're captively holding individuals. Our industry really doesn't have overpriced products if it's done right. I always hear about people saying all the money is made to people at the top. Well, if you have a bad compensation plan, yes, only the people at the top make the bulk of the money. And as I got more and more experienced in direct sales and I worked harder and harder, I realized, actually this industry is a pretty good industry. It isn't the things that people accuse it of. It is just some of the antics that are done by our companies in our industry create the negative stigma that is associated with it. So I went from being a complete skeptic to now a complete advocate of direct sales. In fact, I even teach my MBA students when I was back teaching at the university, I would even teach them all of the characteristics that make a successful direct company of any sort. And once you evaluate direct sales, you're going to find out, wow, if you list those criteria, you match it up to somebody who owns a direct selling business, it meets the criteria and likelihood for success. So once I'm convinced of that, oh, now I'm an advocate forever in the industry. I was there for 15 years at USANA. I worked my little guts out, things like this, coming to China, up days and nights, everything just like it takes to be successful in direct sales. I did everything in the company, and I rose to the top, and I made it to the president of the organization worldwide. In fact, the only person I reported to was the owner's son. After that, the whole place, 1,200 employees, they all reported to me. And you know, the irony is people accuse everyone, only the top people for making the money. But the irony is, as long as I was at USANA and as long as I was the president, nobody could pass me. Nobody's going to make more money than me. Nobody can have the spot that I occupy. And there's only one president, and it was me. Do you know what's great about direct sales? Everybody can do it, and everybody can make a lot of money. So I'm all excited. I'm helping people all around the world make a lot of money. I get to see the successes every day. I'm telling you, you should come to my meetings here. I have been in Shanghai and Shinde and Guiyang, a bunch of little cities in China that all have between 5 and 10 million people in them. And every meeting has 500 people. And in that 500 people meeting, there's probably, 30 or 40 people that were making less than $1,000 a month, 500 US a month, are now making 150, 200,000 US dollars. And they are living like kings in this country. And they are so excited and they are so energetic. And that's the difference. People who sponsor people can make more. They love the products that they're receiving. Oh my gosh, they're all sorts of fired up. So I watched this for 15 years, and then as our company became more and more successful at USANA, the owner, who dislikes coming to China, doesn't like China whatsoever, doesn't like Asia, which is the bulk of his money comes from, decided he was going to make some enhancements to the compensation plan, decided he was going to change the rules, if you will, on how you make money. So imagine the rules have all been established, you're making a lot of money to do it, and then suddenly somebody changes the game on you, so you're no longer making the money that you thought you were, and you had no protection of your rights in your business whatsoever. The bad news is he told me, you get to be the one that goes tells them that this, quote, enhancement is a great thing. And it was very, very difficult choice to make. Because look at me, I ain't the best looking. Okay, I'm a little on the downside, a little bit. But the only way to get good looking is make a lot of money. I'm the president worldwide. I make a lot of money. You can look me up on the internet, look me up on Edgar back then. It's a publicly traded company. And on that day, because he was requiring these changes of the people, we quit. We quit, myself, 5 other senior officers of USANA walked on that day, and we started ARIIX. And it is really a result of seeing the bad side of direct sales, something we never thought would happen to us. But in the end, I'm only an employee, and I can only do what I can do. So we started ARIIX to create a company that has rights. And it protects you as a business owner from having what happened to you happen to all of the people that it was done to in USANA. And it's one of those things that you think, oh, the company won't do it, or oh, it'll never happen to me. But if I listed on this phone, person after person after person, yourself, James, who had the rules changed on them, they changed the game plan, and then suddenly you're stuck because you have no rights whatsoever for recourse or to prevent it from happening, then suddenly it matters to you. And suddenly you say, oh, wow, yeah, okay. I think maybe having my rights protected in writing rather than words is now becoming a little more important than anything else I'm told. I got one more story then, and then I didn't mean to ramble, but I've got a good friend of mine who is at USANA. Her name is Connie. I won't give your last name, but Connie decided, you know, Fred, I've seen your compensation plan and it's very, very nice. there's a new company that's starting up. They're offering me the top spot. I'm going to get all of these extra perks, and their compensation plan pays more. I calculated their compensation plan, and believe it or not, their compensation plan paid more. I can't explain how that is just, I never thought I'd see the day somebody could pay more, because if you start to pay too much, the company can't stay in business. There's just not enough money to go around. I calculated, I was like, Connie, this is crazy. There's no way they can pay this. Oh, yes, there is. They've got it so special and blah, 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 whatever crap. She took that company, she grew it for 8 months, and now I have just found out just a few days ago, what a shocker. After a year and a half, they've changed the compensation plan. They've cut it almost in half, and her pay has gone down to almost 20% of what it was. So they used a bait and switch tactic. Welcome to our industry, makes it really, really bad, makes another bad name in the industry. And the sad part, it happens in corporate, it happens everywhere. And now Connie's talking to us saying, oh, wow, maybe the rights and protected means something, because I went through all of this work and all of this trouble to build an organization. And then the company made an enhancement. And the next thing you know, I have almost nothing that I was planning on. So sorry for the rambling, but that's how we started ARIIX. It's literally, look, we just want to make it a fair, even, equal playing field. Everybody knows the rules up front. Then everybody can work a business and know that once you've built it, it's yours to keep.
Yeah, you know what you said there is so relevant right now. And I was involved in a previous company, and we was building it, and then all of a sudden they said, hey, people are making too much money. They pulled the rug, and we lost a lot of people because it was the confidence. They say, hey, if I'm going to commit my future to this, you realize very quickly if they can change the rules once, they can do it again, and they often do, right? And you educated me more, because you said, James, look at these terms and conditions. For those guys who've not seen it, you can go into the group. I did a training call with Fred about the industry, so we can go into that into more detail and these pitfalls and like you said, the experiences and what's happening right now. And it happens at, so every company, some people don't make some money, and then a new company launches and they go, oh, maybe this is the one. And the problem for some people is that there's no real research beyond something shiny and new. It's just like, hey, this company pays this. And we talked about this, Fred, without naming companies, but the reality of it is some companies, there's some what seems like some great front end money, some flashy money, but it's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to use another industry, for example, James. I don't know if it's done in the UK, but I'm going to tell you what's done in America. They'll make an advertisement for something that sounds really cheap, really inexpensive. You'll go there and they don't have it, or it's not exactly what they said they have. Oh, but we do have this other thing if you would like to get it. In America, we call it a bait and switch. Do you have any of that?
Yeah.
Okay, we get the bait and switch all the time. Or they make you an offer on something, but then by the time you go and get it, you've paid a lot more money than you ever thought you were going to pay for it. We make the joke, oh, you go and buy a car, and then they'll say, oh, great, don't you just love the car? Okay, did you want an engine to go with that? And you suddenly, yeah, that would be nice. I figure that's kind of the basics in any type of what I'm trying to purchase. So I'm not trying to pick on our industry. We do in our industry what is done in business all over the place. We make it sound so good. We make it sound so tempting. You just want it. You stick a flashy light on something and a boy will go, oh, look at that. It's got a light on it, especially if it's neon and it flashes and it's really bright. Shoot, I just bought me a laser pointer here. Because why? It's a light and it's flashy and I want to buy it. But then once you get it, you kind of realize, well, okay, it's not exactly what I thought it was. And unfortunately in our industry, most people that come into our business are very people-oriented. They're very friendly, they're very trusting, they're very social. And those interpersonal skills do not often correlate in personality with being analytical, being somebody who studies a lot and does a lot on numbers. It's based more on feelings. So what happens is, because of that, people do the really flashy bait and switch. Oh, it looks really good. Look at everything it's going to give you. It's got a little funny flash. It's got a little funny flare on it. But there's people in the world that are like me. Oh, yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying, and I know why it is you want me to think it's a great deal, but I better go read the fine print, right? Because the Lord giveth, and the fine print taketh away. So in every case, I go look for the little asterisk. The asterisk by anything in a compensation plan, you look for it and then go to the bottom. You go to the bottom of the screen, the page, and you will see a little condition, very small, bait and switch, that you never noticed. You didn't read it because they figure, look, if we can get you in, just like we can get you into the store, we can convince you to start working. And then when you realize, oh crap, this is what it is, it's too late. And you don't want to take the opportunity cost to leave. Remember, the pie is only so big. And after that, it doesn't matter how many ways you slice the pie. It's still only one size. And it's, if somebody takes a piece of pie that's 3/4 of the entire pie, there's only 1/4 of the pie left to give to somebody else. And it doesn't matter how much it sounds like there's more. It doesn't matter how much it says there's more. In China, the comp plans are notorious for having 20 ways to make money. So I'll bring in a pizza and I'll cut it in half. And then I'll show people, well, how many people do I feed? Only 2, but they're big pieces. Then I'll cut it into 20 pieces and I'll say, oh, wow, is there more money being made? Is there more pizza to serve? And they laugh and they say, oh, of course not. I said, but that's what happens in direct sales. You think because it's got 20 pieces and 20 is bigger than 2, there's more to it. And it is just not the case whatsoever. So recently I've heard a bunch of companies coming in with their newfangled plan. Maybe 3 years ago, the big push was Organo Gold. They were the bomb. They were growing like crazy. Everybody said, you've got to do it like Organo Gold. You need to change things on your comp plan, because they had it divvied up. So it all went to the top earners. And oh boy, I'll tell you, the top earners were walking around. They were strutting how much they were. 5 of the top 25 were from Organo Gold in only 5 years. Everybody said, holy cow, this comp plan pays the most. Because look at all these rich people that are all making huge money at Organo Gold. Well, I got news for you. Organo Gold's pizza was only 2/3 of the size of the pizza that ARIIX offers, and they divided it up so that the pieces were only 1/4, and everybody else starved to death. 5 years later, a bunch of people went running to Organo Gold. 5 years later, that company is virtually gone. And it's gone because no one could make any money. And on the same token, if you cut that piece of pie or pizza and you cut it into 100,000 slices, well, I'm really glad that 100,000 people got to taste the pizza and everybody had one little tiny itty bitty 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 piece of sausage. Or you might get to lick the spoon on the piece of pie that you're having, but there's no way to make a living at it or any substantial income. So you have to be very careful to read the fine print, calculate exactly who's getting the money, and how big is the actual pie or the slice of pizza. If you can do that, I can do that. And I'm telling you, when you're done, you will come back and say, you're right, ARIIX has the biggest pie, and ARIIX cuts it in pieces so that those of you who want to work and do it can have enough pizza to get your fill.
So that's what I was going to say. What separates us? Because obviously companies tell people what they want to hear, and people could say the same essentially about you, right? You could be, for all people know, telling us what we want to hear. So what gives you that confidence? What separates us? Where does that come from, where you believe wholeheartedly that we are the #1 in the industry?
Okay, twofold. Number one, when I was comparing myself, our comp plan to Organo Gold, people came up to me and said, okay, it's better. I said, okay, I'm not here to tell you whether ours is better or not. I am here to tell you mathematically the pie is bigger, but only you know. If you think you're going to be one of the 4 people who are going to make more money in that compensation plan and be one of the 4 top leaders, you should do Organo Gold. So I don't give you, I'm better because. I give you the way we have rewarded people for doing the business. And it's your choice to decide if that makes it better or if that makes it worse. You can't debate whether or not we pay more. I am happy to show you the calculation of any company on the planet and give you exactly what payout they give as a percentage of sales. I have been a consultant in the industry for hundreds of comp plans. I cannot say unequivocally we pay more. I'm telling you, I haven't seen one, and I know a lot of direct selling companies. And when I hear about a new one that's growing like crazy, we have a couple people on our staff, we calculate what the payout is, and we check to see if they pay more. Most of the comp plans are 25% more. Some are like Herbalife are as much as 80% less. That's almost half of what we pay is how big their piece of pie is. But in the end, James, I can tell you who gets the money, how they get it, when they get it. Then it's up for you to decide, is that the kind of compensation plan that I think is rewarding and it's the kind of thing that I want to do? So I'm not putting the criteria that we're the best subjectively. I believe that is a subjective thing for each person to decide. But at the same token, I'll go ask everybody, tell me what are the 4 or 5 most important things in a compensation plan? And if you'll tell me what they are, if ARIIX doesn't win on all 5 or all 4 of the criteria that you think is the most important, and another company does, go join. And I'll give you, I'm fired up now and I'm getting a little loud, sorry. I went to one person and they came to me and said, the only thing that matters is simplicity. It's the only thing that matters in a compensation plan. And Fred, whose compensation plan is more simple? ARIIX's or my company's? Well, I reviewed his company and he was there to try to recruit one of our ARIIX reps and the ARIIX reps was there to try to recruit him. So I said, yours. And I could tell the ARIIX rep was mortified. They were just, Fred, are you kidding me? I looked and said, I'm telling you, theirs is much more simple. It's a fact. You don't deny the fact. I don't lie and say it's different. I just say, yep, you win. So he was strutting around saying, see, and if it's too complicated, people get analysis paralysis. They won't do the business and then they're done. I said, okay, I completely agree. Are you sure though, sir, that is your only criteria? And he said, yep. And you're the one who said, I can pick the criteria and the person who has that criteria wins. So I gave you my criteria and I just won. I looked at him and I said, well, you did, but you didn't, sir. And he said, why is that? I said, I'm going to make you a deal and I will offer it for every single human on the planet. ARIIX will also offer an alternative comp plan. I will put it in writing. I will guarantee it for you, and you will have a contractual assurance I will never change it ever. And I will put punitive damages in for the rest of my life, including my entire net worth, if I ever change the comp plan on you. And he looks at me, he's like, well, okay, what's that? I said, the new comp plan I'm going to offer for you is no matter how much you sell, no matter who you sell it to, no matter how big you get or little you get, anytime you sell at least $1 worth of product, I will pay you $1. If your organization grows to 50 billion people, you earn $1. That's it. I now have the simplest compensation plan in the world. It's simpler than yours. There's nothing to explain. Sell anything and you get $1 and that's it. I will expect you to join immediately. Oh, of course, he rolled his eyes, thought I was a jerk. And I said, wait. The only criteria was it was simpler. And then he said, oh, well, of course it has to be the amount of money. I said, no, sir, that's not what you told me. He said, oh yeah, of course it has to be the amount of money. Oh, okay. Well, then I win. Showed him the math. The guy got mad. He quit. And hence I say, look, that's my confidence. You decide what's the most important. I'll show you the calculation, and then I'll leave it up to you to decide, and you pick. And if you think the criterias that we have selected are the best, then you'll go join ARIIX. If you think they're better somewhere else, then join somewhere else. The only thing I would tell you is be very, very careful, because even if you like their criteria and you fully understand what they're motivating and what they're doing to you, and you still pick them, the only last thing I'll say is, and be very careful, because if you love it, yeah, there's no assurance it's going to be the same tomorrow. They can change it anytime.
Yeah, perfect scene. And as we talked about before, it's common in the industry. So just moving away, I've got a couple of questions there that I want to get through. And first one from me, what I wrote down is, we're 5 years in. How are we doing as a company? Like, expectations met? Are you happy with where we're at? And I suppose there's been lots of ups and downs within the 5 years. So yeah, are we in the right place?
Okay. You can never be too rich or too thin. So with that mantra that I follow, am I where I want to be? No. I went in the 4th year, we went to an event in Texas. We were announced that it was our first invitation to this party. It was our full 3 years of finances. Now, we had the 4th year, but it was only a fraction of a year that year. And we were told at the end of a year ago, we had made the 100th largest list of direct selling companies. And now we're moving up the ranks every year towards my objective. I want to eventually pass Amway and be the single largest direct selling company on the planet. So that's my objective. It's all I focus on. That's what we try to do every day. So for most people, they say, yes, we're doing very well. There were only 3 companies who were in there that young who had made the 100 largest. The bad thing is the other 2 were both ahead of me, and it made me mad. And I was like, gosh, we're not getting the message out. One of those companies is now on its downside because people joined, they found out what it was really all about, they found out what they were doing in the compensation plan, and voila, they're falling. I believe the same thing is going to happen to the next company that was beating us. It's already happening here in China, but we'll wait and see till people figure out, oh my gosh, I'm in their compensation plan and I do see it doesn't pay. It is kind of a trick. And as they do that, we're starting to gain more and more momentum on that. So I'm very pleased with where we are. This year we were just announced that we were in Inc. 5000 of all companies in the United States. We made the 5,000 fastest growing list. We're not great. I can't remember what our number was. It was in the top 20% or something. Don't quote me to that. I should know the exact number because we just got announced.
I can.
But had they, what's that?
I can tell you the exact number if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just only because I just did a post about it about 20 minutes ago. There you go.
Okay.
1,546 among America's foremost organizations.
Okay, so I lied. It's about the top, 30th percentile, which is good. The thing that sucks about though, James, I just have to say a sidebar. They didn't take our first year into account when we went 0. So when we had no sales, the first year was 15 million. We hadn't earned early enough to count our first year of sales. So when you go from 0 to any number, obviously it's infinite increase. It's undefined in math. So we would have been number 1, but because they won't count the first year, we had to compare our 2nd to our 5th, I believe, and that's where we hit. Am I thrilled? Yeah. Am I excited about it? Sure. But would I like to be bigger? Just like you would. But all over the world, I'm telling you, I've been here almost 2 weeks. I will have been here 2 weeks, well, a day short of 2 weeks when I'm done. Every single meeting, we are the toast of the town. We have 500, sometimes 400 times, sometimes 600 people at each event. They're usually sold out, and people are so fired up here in China. Next, I will be headed to Taiwan. Same thing that is happening all across the globe. And kind of one of the most satisfying for me is one by one, I'm passing my old company in size in all these various markets. So for me, I'm pretty happy about it. But nope, I want to be bigger. I want to be better. We want to be the best.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure people on the call feel the same. You know, from a company perspective, but for their own individual businesses. So we talked about like ARIIX on the global scale. What about the UK? It's like we're coming up to our year anniversary. I was thinking that today. So a year since we opened up the UK market was September. What a year it's been. So as the boss, as the CEO, what about an assessment of our year with the company? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a pattern that always happens in direct sales. It happened in the UK and it happened in Korea that we opened at the same time. As soon as you open the doors, people have been begging to go. Obviously, that's why we picked the country, because we're hearing a lot of demand for it. We open the doors, everybody comes rushing in, everybody gets all fired up to do it. And then the reality is only a percentage ever really do it. People get excited, they get fired up. Shoot, I'm showing a picture in Phuket now of our first meeting ever in Asia. I looked through the Phuket photo of everyone who was there. Half of the people who earned this great trip are gone. And I'm telling you, they were all motivated. Each of them were fired up. All of them were going to do it. And back then, we weren't even doing 50,000 a week in sales in China. And everybody was all fired up. We're going to make ARIIX the biggest, ARIIX #1. And oh, they all believed it. What happened 5 years later when half of them were gone? Well, now we're not doing 10 times. We're doing almost 40 times that much size. And we still did it with, quote, half the people gone. That's the nature of anything. Some people see an opportunity, they go for it. They focus on it, and it's all they do. Other people are always blaming why they're not succeeding on some stupid little thing that is a beautiful excuse to say, hey, I'm not taking accountability for what I want and what I'm going to do. Hey, direct sales ain't easy. I got news for you. People don't like it. They have a bad taste for it. They have a bad rap with it. It's your job to convince people that maybe there's a chance there's something different. But that notwithstanding, most people can't do it because they can't take the rejection. It's too much work. It's not what they signed up for. They're not willing to get up at freaking 5 in the morning to do a conference call. I get it. It's work. And it's the reason I rose to the top as the president of USANA, because I outworked everybody. I out everything, everyone, because I knew it was a competition. The great thing about multi-level is everybody can win. You just have to have that tenacity. And it's work. So what happens is people go for the shiny, flashy light. They go somewhere else. They'll jump 3 or 4 times. Then they'll say it's not going to work. And oh my gosh, it just drives me crazy. It works. You just have to be tenacious enough to be able to do it. And then we will grow. That's exactly what happened in the UK. And I mean this as a compliment, James. We weren't doing a lot. You got screwed by an enhancement, a realization that, oh, hey, we can change the rules on you at any time. And you think, okay, well, how long is this going to last? My daughter is going to be living on this income. And what if one day the company realizes, hey, we're paying your daughter and she didn't do anything for this company. We need to bag this and quit paying James's estate. We didn't screw James, but we did stop his daughter because we don't even know her. There's nothing you can do about it. So guess what? Because of that, you moved, and the UK has just exploded for us. You have gone from a nothing market in size to one of the top 5 largest markets. And oh man, the rush comes. And then people say, oh wow, it's just not easy money and it's just not falling out of a tree. Well shoot, if it was falling out of a tree, give me a freaking break. You'd be the largest overnight in 1 minute. So what happens is people get discouraged. People go try to do it again because the new company rush is on. They'll race to it. Same thing's going to happen, only it's going to be worse because the way we designed our comp plan has the greatest potential for residual. You guys kill it, it goes down a little, and then the market goes back up. We joined Korea. We were killing it for the first 3 months. We were making great sales. The next 3 to 6 months, we lost money every freaking month. Our GM was a little nervous. He got to lose his job. And we're like, no, this is part of it. Everybody comes through. They taste it. They get fired up. Group think happens, and it grows up. Last 2 months, sales are slowly going up and up and up. We're now in the black. And at the end of the year, our growth rate will have been, well, infinite because it went from 0 to something. But now our sales will be profitable and we will double oversize for the next couple of years. And then the percentage goes down. But our sales, like in all markets, will continue on an upward trend. So you're doing awesome in the UK. We had nothing. Think about it, James. Nothing when you got there. Now we have a staff. We have people that can talk your language. Our products are registered. There's a warehouse there. We're getting the shipping done. All of the problems that happen on any company that is starting up in a certain location, one by one get resolved. And when the problems get resolved, some people could use those as an excuse to go. But people who stick it out say, oh, wow, we just keep getting better, better, better. And just like in China and everywhere around the world, those that remain will be very, very successful. They'll be happy. They'll all say it was worth it. And I have found almost everyone who leaves and continues to jump ship to different companies all the time never prove out to be successful because it's always looking for something a little more shiny, a little more new. Good luck.
Yeah, well, it was funny you should say that, and not a problem to say. We lost a couple of people recently, and from the bottom of my heart, I wish them all the best. There's some great people who decided to look elsewhere. But I'm like you, start to understand the cycles of business and when we talked about, and I know where this is going in the second half of the year and then beyond. And if my fear for some people who've gone, and of course the big boys and girls that make their own decision, is that we're actually laid the foundations for what I believe the next couple of years are going to be huge, and some people are not going to get the fruits of that labor. They've kind of gone through the formation phase in the UK, right? They've done a lot of the hard work. So we said from day one with any company, it's a 4-year career, and the stats prove that, right? Off the top of your head, Fred, what's the average for those who stay for 4 years in ARIIX?
Oh, it's actually less than that, just short of 3.5 years. The average person will make more in ARIIX than they make at their full-time job. But here's the crazy part. Remember, our pie is bigger. So if you'll make more at ARIIX than any other compensation plan, think about it. If you stick with it 3.5 years, you'll replace your full-time income in ARIIX. But if you'll switch to someone else, I'm telling you, you will not make the same amount of money anywhere else in any compensation plan for the exact same amount of volume.
Yeah, perfect. I remember when you told me, that still haunts me to this day. Well, not that much, because I decided to make the switch. When you did the calculation on my previous company, you said, hey, I'm just going to let you know, for the same group volume, worst case scenario, if you had no idea what you were doing, it will pay you twice as much. A little bit of placement and understanding 3 to 4 times as much. However, you can you can do whatever you want. And I decided to, why would you not go somewhere else which pays 3 to 4 times more? Here's a good question. This comes from Darren Foy, and I suppose maybe it's preference. Maybe you can give the reasons why, the pros and cons. So some people, you see some things on YouTube with Rick Billings, and he talks about 2 lines drilling deep. Then some other people like to build wide. What would your advice be for those on the call? I mean, again, I know it's preference, but what would your advice be? Build deep or build wide?
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I just put in a plug for Darren. I don't know if he's on the call, but that sucker is smart. When we talk about our compensation plan, I got to tell you, like I said, I start out with a disposition, you won't like me. And then after the first impression, you get to know me, I kind of grow on you like mold. And then one day you kind of go, okay, I like this guy. He's okay. Darren, you like him right off the bat. He is a social guy, but that dude is smart. Usually really nice, fun, people that live from the heart. They always say to me, oh, I'm not good with numbers. I just trust you, Fred. But that boy, he's social, and, oh, I don't trust you, Fred. I did the calculation myself. He gets compensation at a tiny, tiny level. So I don't know if anybody on the call works with Darren, but I'm telling you, that guy's a bomb. So he gets my vote. And now I forgot what your question was though with that.
Building wide or deep?
Oh, yeah. Okay. In our compensation plan, we have filed for a patent that I keep hoping is going to be granted anytime very soon now. It allows people to build wide with multiple lines or deep. Here's the difference. If you build wide, like a unilevel, it is there for people who are only used to unilevel. Their whole life said the binary is the devil. We hate the binary. It's kind of hard for them to go back and say, oh, suddenly maybe I'm wrong. I like the binary. And they're used to building wide. The great thing about wide is some people want more money up front faster. They want the residual as quick as they can. If you're looking for that, wide is faster. You create residual quicker, and it's easier to make more money up front. So there you have it. If you go deep, the advantages to this is more people are helped with every single person who joins ARIIX or every customer who buys from ARIIX than if you go wide. Mathematically, and if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. If you build deep with 2 lines, everybody's going under everybody. In fact, half of the people are at the bottom of any type of a binary structure. I'm going to do a little math. I know you may hate it, but it kind of makes sense. It goes 1, 2, 4, 8. If you do 1, 2, 4, 8, that means on the 4th row, 8 people are there. But if you add up everybody above it, it was 1 plus 2 plus 4, which is 7. In any mathematical, if I do the next line, it'll go from 8 to 16, but there are 15 people above it. So one person more than half are found at the bottom. The great thing about that mathematical fact is that more people benefit when any one person buys. There's not as much cross-line. So if you're building the organization cross-line, you're kind of more by yourself. If you build deep, everybody is kind of getting a group team cooperative effort, and they feel like together they're having more success. In the long run, if you build deep, it will take less volume for the same pay. The only problem is it takes a little longer to make that type of a residual income. So you have to decide, do I want my money now? Go wide. Do I want my money a little deeper? Then I am going to go deep and benefit more people and create fewer cross lines. And the last is, that's kind of also what I love about our comp plan. Do you want to make more money faster? Then go wide, because that is, quote, your criteria for a better compensation plan. If your criteria is much more team focused and everybody works together and you want to have kind of a tighter, close-knit group, go deep.
Yeah. Makes total sense. Okay, so just the last 15 minutes on the call. What's your vision for the future? So we talked about where we're at in 5 years, and I know we want to be number one, but just say the next couple of years. Let's get more specific with the UK and Europe. So that's relevant to us, right? So what's your vision for the next couple of years for the UK and Europe?
Okay, I know this is funny, James. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. Dude, that is my only vision. It's my only vision worldwide in every market. I want to be the single largest direct selling company in every market worldwide. It's going to be my focus in 1 year. It's my focus for 3 years. It's my focus for 10 years. And when I have that focus, all the other crap is not my focus. It's not my job. I resign that to the people who work for me. If we want to be number one, we have to be the best. I've got to have all of the problems that will always come up. I don't give a crap who you are. I don't care what company you are. You have your issues and they have to be fixed. And new issues come up and they have to be fixed. Welcome to life. So if your goal, it's like a marriage, right? If you want to have the greatest marriage, I got news for you. You're going to have problems your whole life, right? I'm married. I got problems my whole life. But if you have an objective that says, hey, I am going to stick with this and I'm going to have the best relationship, All the other things are problems that need to be overcome because that's your objective. And it's the same worldwide. So when we started the UK, oh, we weren't anywhere. We weren't even there. We didn't have employees. We didn't have management. We didn't have great shipping. Do you want the list? Now, a year later, oh, the problems are going away. The problems are going away. And as we solve problems, as we introduce new concepts, as we introduce new promotions, some of which will be coming out soon, you will start to say, oh, wow, yeah, when you're single-minded with one focus and that's all you concentrate on, everything else becomes irrelevant because all you're doing is making yourself the greatest company so that when people have a choice to make, they can look at you and say, I don't know why I would pick ARIIX. I believe it is the greatest company on all dimensions for me to join. It is perfect for me. Now, it will never be perfect for everybody. Some people will say, I want a comp plan that pays everything to the top. Some people are going to say, nope, I want a party plan where nothing goes to anybody except the person making the sale. Pick it. But I'm telling you, I'm going for the masses of what most people in this industry would believe is the greatest company. And if we can do that and cater to the most people by making it so simple for them to do business with us and making us have the greatest products so that no one else can come to us and say, oh, your products are inferior or not the best quality, etc., my goal will be achieved. And I'm telling you, one day we will be the largest.
Amazing, amazing. So a couple of questions from the guys as well. I always like to put you on the spot. They say, hey, Fred, you know, all this comp plan stuff we've got, and of course, me and you did a video. They say that's great. We go on YouTube and things like that, and we have links to Center Potentials, and everything's in dollars, and everything's American. And, you know, I didn't want to say it loud, but they say, hey, the American accent, it annoys us. I mean, I didn't want to repeat who said that, but they're saying, hey, Fred, when can we have our own compensation plan video? When can we have some extra cool tools for the market? So I just wanted to throw that out there and leave you to respond.
Oh, here'd be my answer. You're right. How are we going to be number one in UK if other companies have the British, speak proper English and we have the American accent? Sorry, I need to be less myopic. Totally agree. It's not if we're going to have it. It's only when we have it. And all things must take a prioritization. So if that's one that we hear is done, we have a partners council that's going to speak up. They start telling us, these are the most important things for you to have gotten done, Fred, so we can be number one. I pass that off to Michal and his staff. They go scream and yell, they get their budget, and voila, nobody will be speaking American.
Cool, we look forward to that day. So I'll pass that on to the guys who asked that question. I suppose being all around the world, seeing so many great leaders, people do things differently. We get that, but talk about some of the fundamentals. What like top tips from your experience of all that time in the industry, seeing so much success? What are your top tips for the guys on the call?
That is universally easy to answer. I'm telling you, it is simple. You don't believe me, but I'm telling you. Find four. Find four who want to do the business. I'll give you little details on finding four. Don't find, I call them ducks. I've tried to call them ducks instead of losers because then people get offended and say, people aren't losers, they're wonderful people. Of course they're wonderful people. When it comes to the performance that they are doing in direct sales, their performance is less than ideal. Okay, I've said it right. I still call them that. But the point being, don't get people your four who you got to talk into, who you got to beg to show up, who never come to the meetings, who aren't willing to get up at 4 in the morning. Why do you think we're so careful about who our kids hang out with? We're careful because we're afraid they're going to be like them. And here's the bad part. It's not because we're afraid they're going to be like them. Actually, they like them because they're just like them. So if you don't want to be like them, then you're going to have to get people who will do the business. Our number one gal here is Chi-Chi. She found 4 people, and she had to go through 6 or 7 until she finally found 4 who were as passionate about building the business as she is. That's it. She started And those 4 people are just as passionate as she is. Once she had those 4, she taught those 4 to get 4 people who are just as passionate. And sometimes you get lucky and it takes a week. Sometimes you're not lucky and it takes a year. Okay, what do you care? In the 3.5 years, does it really matter if it all comes at the end of the 3rd year or if it comes right at the beginning? We'd all love early success. But if you get early success, then when it declines a little bit, you get discouraged and leave. If you never get any success, shoot Tyga, the 25-year-old, he's a multimillionaire now from ARIIX. He took 10 people saying no until his 11th person said yes. So success comes when it comes. Find 4 people who will do this business as passionate as you do. When you find it, your workload will drop 20 down to 5 of you doing a business. So it'll drop to 20% of what you had to do. When you're feeling down, you have 4 people to pick you up. Chi-Chi has 4 people. And now 2 of those people are perfectly happy making $220,000 a year. They're perfectly happy and they're done. But she found 2 of them who want to pass her. And now I am in a city with OO. You don't know her. Her name's OO. She wants to pass Chi-Chi. She is killing herself, and she has found 4 that want to be as rich as she does, and she is duplicating that process. So 1, find 4. Number 2, don't waste your time with ducks. They will suck you dry. They will, and you want me to describe a duck? A duck is someone who has an excuse about everything, right? Excuses. I can't stand them. It's just a loser's way of blaming something else other than a personal accountability. We don't have the British material done. Guess what? You don't hear me saying it's someone else's fault or I'm sorry we didn't. It's not done yet. It's my responsibility. Well, actually, it's going to be Mihal's responsibility, but it is someone's accountability. If you try to make a winner out of a duck, it's not going to happen. And all they do is bring you down. All they do is get your focus on the right thing. All they do is make it so much harder to do the business. So if they don't want to do it, and I don't care what they say, actions talk. Don't waste your time with people that are downers. I don't want to hang with them. In fact, we've got some old timers who are making a lot of money here in China. They love the money they're making, and all they do is sit and complain. And so finally today, this was the last trip, and I was very polite in very good Chinese to give them face. But I basically told them, I'm not going to spend any more time just sitting and listening. We have a general manager who's responsible for the issues and the problems, but you're focused on the problems. And when you focus on the problems, that's what you do. I don't have time to focus on that. I only want to focus on people that are fired up, excited to do the business. So my second is just focus on the people who want to build the business. And number 3, keep it simple. No more than that. If you overwhelm people, you overtalk them, you never quit. It gets too complicated, and then it makes it too difficult for people to do the business. Keep it simple. The people that are doing that are just replicating like crazy, and they're the ones who grow. Has nothing to do with personality. Yeah, you're going to have to change who you are. Yes, you're going to have to personally develop. But the general common theme when you're first starting is find 4 who really want to do it like you do.
Perfect. Just in closing then, Fred, obviously we appreciate you getting up in the early hours in China. I think you're energized now. I think you're ready for the day, right? You start talking about comp plans and other companies. You see, you get a little bit excited. I thought you was going to start pacing around at one point. But yeah,
I actually was going to get up, but I was worried that my room was a little messy. So I said, maybe not. I was going to stand up. I was going to show you all a beautiful view of China. It's just getting early in the morning. You can all say, oh, yeah, that's China. Good luck. Anyway, there you go.
But I just wanted to say, and I'm sure on behalf of everyone else on the call, at the end of the day, you know, some people say, hey, whatever you need, and they don't really mean it, because you find out very quickly that they didn't mean it. But, you know, I come to you and said, hey, you know, you're on a busy schedule, you're traveling around, you're working long days, doing meetings, said, hey, Fred, can we do a call? And I knew that you would have done it at 2:30 in the morning. You know, I knew that you'd do it at any time in the morning, but, you know, we appreciate that. And that's the sort of work ethic, like you said. It's because, hey, you know, we want to be number one as a company. They're the things I'll do. You know, I'll do the things that other people aren't willing to do to get the results that others can't have. So we appreciate that. I think your video is frozen. Are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay, you froze it, but it's all good. So we appreciate that, honestly, and we're excited for what's coming. When will we see you next in the UK? Is anything planned in the UK?
We do have some events planned this fall, and I think it's backed by popular demand. So I'm sure Deanna's going, and I'm not sure if I'm going, to be honest. Somebody always tells me what my schedule is. I do believe I'm coming. I don't know, James, you'd know better than me, or Mihal would know, but I will always be there at least once a year, given all our management wants to go there. 2 or 3 times is very likely.
Yeah, and we know that's very likely, because we know. I know you have to be PC and you say to every market, yeah, you know, I like you guys, but we know you've got a little soft spot for the UK market. We know. And you know that.
But James, has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the fact that you guys are biased and prejudiced, and you're bigoted only towards good-looking people. So when you want to expand your business over there, you might want to consider everybody should not be smoking hot. But yes, that might have a little bit of bearing on why everybody wants to go to the UK.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen.
Hey, by the way, I do have to put out one plug for Team Commando. I have not forgotten my video about sending those push-ups. I did notice the message and I was laughing. I said, you guys think I have forgotten, but I haven't. I've actually gone to the marketing department to create the video. So I'll get to it. Unfortunately, that one is one of mine that's not quite a high priority, but I haven't forgotten yet.
Okay, I'm sure Team Commando will be happy with that. Fred, once again, thank you. For everyone else on the call, appreciate it. It's Monday evening. It's close to 11 p.m. and you guys committed. And you know, like we said before, if you want to be successful, they're the sort of things that successful people do. So, Fred, thank you. I'll see you in a minute. I'll drop you another link. For everyone else, have a phenomenal week, and I'll chat to you soon. Cheers, Fred.
Hey, good night, everybody.
All right.